Well guys, here we have an explanation about the past continuous. We're gonna see some examples and some characteristics about this tense, so I would like you to pay attention to the rest of the video. As other tenses, the past continuous has clue words, so there we have some of them: at, all, last, while, and as. Later we are going to see how are they used in the way of the past continuous. Let's remember, the past continuous tense is used to describe actions that began in the past and often continue for a short period of time after the action started, as we can see here in the example. So this tense describes actions or events that happened at a specific time in the past. So we have to keep in mind this definition. So here we have an example about this situation, that is that something happened at a specific time in the past. The question is, what were they doing at 6 o'clock yesterday? So there we have 5 pictures talking about an action that happened at that time, at 6 o'clock. Well, the girl was playing the guitar, this couple was running in the park, the kids were doing their homework, the guys were looking for a place, and the boy was watching TV. All those actions happened at a specific time. This time was 6 o'clock. So, for example, what were you doing at 6 o'clock yesterday? So you can answer for yourself. Remember, we use the past continuous to indicate that a longer action in the past was interrupted. The interruption is usually a shorter action in the simple past. Remember, this can be a real interruption or just an interruption in time. So let's see the examples. Here we have the example. She was reading a book when the alarm clock rang. So, as we explained, the interrupted action is established in the simple past, when the alarm clock rang. So that situation interrupted the first action that was, or the situation that was ongoing. She was reading a book. When the alarm clock rang, the simple past interrupted the action. Here we have another example. The girls were walking to school when Jason appeared. The girls were doing an action, that situation was ongoing, but was interrupted because Jason appeared. So there we have the action in the simple past, when Jason appeared. When you use the past continuous with two actions in the same sentence, it expresses the idea that both actions were happening at the same time. The actions are parallel, okay? So there we have some examples to explain this rule. They took too many photos while they were visiting a new city, so both actions were happening at the same time. So that's why both are structured in the past continuous form. So there is no difference by them because both were happening at the same moment. Here we have an example, but in the way of a question. What were you doing while I was cleaning the kitchen? So the girl is inquiring the guy, so she was cleaning the kitchen at that moment, but the guy was doing something as well. Probably he was playing soccer, probably he was watching TV, probably he was buying something at the supermarket. So, but he was doing an action at the same time that the girl was doing something. In English, we often use a series of parallel actions to describe the atmosphere or the background at a particular time in the past. For example, there we have some references that can help you to understand better this situation. Here we have an example about the description of the atmosphere and the background. It was a dreadful morning. The snow was still falling, the wind was blowing, and the cars were skidding on the icy roads. So here is a description about parallel actions in the past. So that's why the narrator is using the past continuous to keep involving the audience in the description of this situation. The past continuous with words such as always or constantly expresses the idea that something irritating or shocking often happened in the past. The concept is very similar to the expression used to, but with negative emotions. Remember to put the words always or constantly between the and the verb plus ing. Here we have an example. She was always coming to class late. So in this sentence is emphasize the action, this irritating action, that she was always coming late to class. So that's why we make an emphasis on this circumstance. Another example could be he was constantly talking. He annoyed everyone. Or probably I didn't like them because they were always complaining. It was a repetitive action, but it was shocking and irritating, okay? It is important to remember that non-continuous verbs or stative verbs cannot be used in any continuous tenses. Also, certain non-continuous meanings for mixed verbs cannot be used in continuous tenses. Instead of using the past continuous with these verbs, you must use the simple past. So here we have a list, as we have made emphasis previously when we studied the present continuous. For example, if I want to say a sentence such as Jane was being at my house when you arrived, this sentence is incorrect. The correct form is Jane was at my house when you arrived. So you can take a look about those verbs for not using them in the ing form because those are non-continuous verbs.